Good evening, everybody. Good afternoon, good morning, wherever you're watching from, and welcome to the Toyota Gazoo Racing WEC fan meeting here on Gran Turismo TV, live in Tokyo in Japan from the MegaWeb studio facility. Chris McCarthy and Jimmy Broadbent once again here to talk you through the action. Jimmy, first of all, good to be back with you once again, but this a different kind of event. After what we've had over the weekend, we've had the Asia Oceania regional final for the FIA Gran Turismo Nations Cup. Monday we had, of course, a little bit of a fun event going on, but this 6 professional racing drivers, all teammates of course, going head to head on the same stage. Our players went head to head not too long ago, so it's going to be a really good evening.
Yeah, I'm getting pretty comfy up here in this booth now, Chris. A little nest going on, actually. But this is a great opportunity, isn't it? To see 6 of the world's best drivers, or best endurance drivers, come together to compete with each other. Usually, of course, they're there as teammates and split into 2 cars. But here we'll have 6 people on track at once, and I'm sure there'll be a lot of rivalry there. You don't want to be the person in that team to come towards the back. We can get into that because we've been watching a bit of practice, haven't we, Chris?
Yes, so of course all 6 drivers are here. To remind you of the drivers, we've got Fernando Alonso, Sebastian Buemi, Kazuki Nakajima, Kamui Kobayashi, Mike Conway and Jose Maria Lopez. All 6 drivers are here. They're currently backstage getting ready to come onto the stage, where they'll have a bit of a Q&A session first, and then we will go into the racing. We're going to have 2 races. One will be at Fuji Speedway, where they are racing this weekend, and then one of them will be at Le Mans, where of course they had a little bit of success there this year, it's fair to say. In practice earlier, which was closed off to the general public that are in watching, it was very, very intense, wasn't it, Jimmy? They had some practice races, and it's fair to say they are taking this pretty seriously.
Yeah, we saw some enthusiastic moves, I think would be the best way to say it. And here comes Wagi Saka onto the stage.
Yes.
That's the Toyota legend driver, as you'd say, Super GT mainstay for a very long time.
He was here on Monday, of course, racing as part of the manufacturer's exhibition event.
And to go back to our previous conversation quickly, he was having a great time watching the drivers, shall we say, robustly move each other off the circuit earlier in practice. They've been told to keep it a bit cleaner for the exhibition races. They're all having a bit of fun.
Put it this way, guys, it became a case of who could get the biggest shortcut around the circuit, who could use the shortcuts to the advantage the most. And Fernando Alonso, I think, was the best at it by the end. It was really good stuff, but the shortcut penalties since have been turned on, so we're going to have some really good racing. Drivers were just having a little bit of fun earlier, but they're getting ready to have a really good race and put on a good show, not just for the audience gathered here, but for you guys watching online as well. And thank you for tuning in to Gran Turismo TV once again. This actually brings the end of the weekend, really, or the week, shall we say, of our event and of our time here. What a way it is to go out a special event, the Toyota Gazoo Racing WEC fan meeting.
So something we'll go over before we start is just to be very transparent with you guys. We do have some translation for some of the things being said by the MC and people on stage, but it can be a little bit intermittent, so if there is no translation for a little while, we'll have to just kind of go back to our conversation, but we'll try and keep you guys in the loop as much as possible. I'm sure you can appreciate there's a lot of different lines and different audio sources around here, and it can get a little bit confusing. Right now, Wagi Saka just addressing the audience and I think getting them kind of queued up. A couple of guys out there with some flags. I see someone with in a red racing suit with an Alonso. I can only really describe it as a homemade Alonso lollipop with Alonso's drawn face on it. I hope we get a I really do hope we get a camera on that at some point, because it's fantastic. But right now you might be able to see if the camera pans to the audience, that we have a little gap in the middle for the drivers to walk through when they come in, and that's already being filled up by the fans. The fans are all been invited. These are people who won competitions online. 200 people selected to come in and come say hello to the drivers, and the vast majority of them are here right now, and I'm sure a lot of them are very happy to be here as well. Lots of people in Toyota shirts and Toyota flags down there, so big fans of the team for sure.
Right then, Jimmy, I think we're about to get the drivers out onto the stage. As all the phones and cameras turn to the entrance to the studio, let's get ready to bring the drivers up onto the stage. First to come in, as our MC is going to call out, will be, let's have a look, it's going to be Mike Conway. Here he comes onto the stage, the Brit. High fives all round as he comes through.
That's a lot of hands.
I think we're going to get a big cheer for this driver, because next onto the stage is Kamui Kobayashi.
He was cartwheeling down here earlier. Why isn't he doing that now?
No. And the next driver was doing backflips, so let's wait to see what happens there.
Just flossing.
No, that was the last driver who was coming out. There's Kobayashi. Next onto the stage, Jose Maria Lopez.
Chito Lopez. Good to see him here, of course. WTCC driver. Now full-time Toyota LMP1.
A 3 times champion in that as well. Now we come on to the next 3 drivers, starting with Sebastian Buemi. There he is. Swiss driver now making his way onto the stage. And he will be quickly followed up by another Japanese driver. It's Kazuki Nakajima. And, well,
I'm sure the last driver doesn't really need an introduction, does he?
Yes,
but
I think you all know who is missing from that stage. And yes, it's Fernando Alonso. Here he comes. He was very quick earlier as well, it has to be said. Can he get through there? Just about, I think. There we go.
And the lady in the red suit is now very excited. I'm not sure we got a camera in her, but she was very excited to get a high five Alonso. Here we are, all our drivers on stage then.
Lots of jumping going on within the crowd.
Yeah, lots and lots of jumping. So a round of applause for our drivers.
And up here in the commentary box as well from Jimmy.
I haven't stopped jumping.
There's a reason I was doing those introductions. Right, well, drivers are now on stage, lined up. Our translator actually is now just making his way onto the stage as well. There he is to the right of your picture. And we are going to be having a Q&A with the drivers now. Just to give you an idea of the format, we're going to be speaking to the drivers for around 20 to 30 minutes, and then we're going to get into the racing. 1 race at Fuji Speedway and 1 race at Le Mans. So there are the drivers all ready to go. And who are we going to be speaking to first then? We're going to, of course, get a chance to speak to all of the drivers. There may be a chance for the audience to ask 1 or 2 questions as well, but Wakisaka leading the way for the time being, and our MC is up there as well, Kusuke Hirawa. There is Wakisaka. And currently just... I think giving a little bit of an overview to all the drivers. Of course, they need no introduction, but now just introducing our translator actually to the audience.
Our very quiet translator, shall we say.
At the moment, yeah.
At the moment.
So first of all, we're going to hear from Kazuki Nakajima.
They're just saying that he is very happy to be part of this team, and of course, it being a Japanese manufacturer, of course, being at this event is pretty special for him. I think we might have to abandon our translator because we're having a very hard time hearing him.
Yeah, we are.
But what we'll do instead is we'll go over a couple of bits we have prepared, because, as we said at the start of the stream, unfortunately our translator headphone isn't the best.
No.
But yeah, let's talk about some drivers. We'll go from left to right. We've got Kaz on
let's talk about Kaz first, shall we?
Of course, illustrious career.
Yes, of course, he did race in F1 with Williams Toyota from 2007 to 2009.
Maybe worth noting that he's actually raced someone who is quite close to us in the booth.
There's just a small pallet walls next to us. It's between ourselves and Roldan Rodriguez, ex-F1 test driver for Force India. And he actually raced with Nakajima on several occasions. Of course, he made his WEC and Le Mans debut back in 2012, finished second in the championship last season.
And the Le Mans winner last year with the 8 car, or this year I should say.
This year, it feels like it's
time
flies,
moves. Here is
Sebastian Buemi.
Yeah, Mr. Buemi, Formula E champion as well, of course, and someone else who's taken part in F1. A lot of ex-F1 drivers in this team. I remember when I first had the lineup for WEC for 2018, and I thought, well, this is a ridiculous team. Of course, and you add Alonso in there as well. It's kind of hard to see why, not hard to see why they did so well.
It's Kazuki Nakajima once again. But we were talking about Buemi there.
I'll tell you what, there's some people going around in the audience right now with a couple of drinks. Maybe we should try and bring them up here, try and get them involved as well. We'll try and get some more translation for you guys. I know it's a little bit dull on your end, we can't accurately say what's going on. The problem is that we have, of course, a native Japanese audience here, so a lot of the dialogue is in Japanese. Unfortunately, Chris didn't learn Japanese. I asked him to before he came out, but he didn't do so.
Oh.
So we're having to try and play it a little bit by ear.
But Sebastian Buemi is also going to be here, as you said. Formula F1 driver with Toro Rosso. He made his debut with Toyota in 2012 in the WEC and Le Mans 24-hour. Helped win the championship back in 2014. Podiums both WEC and Le Mans in 2013 and 2014, so that win in the 24-hour was a long time coming. Now we can see Fernando Alonso on screen.
Experience in an endurance race and a 24-hour race, but yeah, it was great to have such a great team, you know, with the experience of Toyota Gazoo Racing, and my teammates as well makes you know, this experience a little bit easier.
So good to hear from Fernando Alonso for the first time there. Just referring to his teammates, and we can see now the picture of the moment that they took victory in the Le Mans 24-hour.
That's difficult. Yeah, that's difficult.
すごく難しい質問ですね。じゃあ二言三言でも結構でございます。
There is a very competitive environment, also in endurance racing, but at the same time you share the team, you share your car, and you prepare the race in a different way. So I like that part of the team spirit, you know, in endurance.
もちろんチーム内での競争も激しいんです。
So Fernando, they're just asking. We got that one in our translation. Being asked what it's like to drive in a team compared to driving in perhaps a single car race, similar to, of course, Formula One.
コーエン選手はトヨタ5年目になりますけれども、今シーズンはここまでいかがですか?
Konnichiwa, everybody.
こんにちは。
So far, it's been you know, challenging. We've always been fast, qualify well, and the races as well been very fast. So yeah, it's been a really good battle really with the sister car all season. So yeah, it's made it more intense actually when it's just car 7 and car 8 battling together. So. But I've been enjoying it. It's good fun, and obviously Fuji this weekend. So big push in front of the home crowd.
とてもチャレンジングなシーズンですね。7号車
Good to hear from Mike Conway there, and talking about the battles they have had. Of course, a 1-2 for the Toyota Gazoo racing team at both Spa and at Le Mans as well. So they have been battling pretty hard. They will be tonight as well, as it's not just going to be the cars that go head-to-head. It's going to be, of course, all 6 drivers.
Yeah, Le Mans this year felt it very nice. It was my second time there with the team. Everyone in the team did a very good job, especially the guys from K8. Winning for the team was very important, and after a long time, I think you know, the celebration and everything was very, very, very special for us. So I really enjoyed. And you know, always it's a very intense week, but it's nice to be there, and it's a very special race. So as a driver, I mean, the feeling is very nice.
I always find it very interesting to hear about experiences from drivers from Le Mans, because as a spectator, I'm sure you know, Chris, you kind of end up just sitting and watching a lot of the time and having 24 hours to yourself where you sit and just binge watch a race. But as a driver, it's a very physical experience, and of course Mario Lopez's car has not yet won, but he's happy to see that his team has done. So I guess that's part of the team spirit here, which is nice to see.
ことなんですけど、何かありますか？
裏話は僕の番なかなか来へんから僕来へんのかなってずっと思ってました。
大変お待たせいたしました。
ありがとうございます。ルマンの裏話。
I think the same question fielded to Kamui Kobayashi there. Love to know his response. Yeah, but we don't have it up here, unfortunately. I kind of apologise for the Eurovision-esque vibe here, guys. We're just trying to get as much info as we can.
We're not Graham Norton yet.
No, not yet. Well, it's a slippery slope, though. But we'll take this opportunity to speak a bit more about Kobayashi. Yeah, of course. Known for, I'd say for me, as one of the more perfect laps of Le Mans I've ever seen.
Very perfect.
Yeah, set the lap record in qualifying of 3:14.7. Absolutely ridiculous pace. I've tried to emulate that in Sims. It's just not possible.
How close have you got?
Nowhere near. Nowhere.
Don't ask.
I think I've done like a 16 or a 17. But I could nowhere near get a 14. So impressive that time.
It was. For anyone who's just tuning in, this is a Toyota Gazoo Racing WEC fan meeting. However, not just a meeting. We're going to be racing as well. All 6 drivers are going to get in our rigs, Gran Turismo rigs, and we're going to go head-to-head on stage. 2 races, one at Fuji and one at Le Mans. So if you've just tuned in at the moment, we've got a crowd in here which have won tickets for this event. We're currently having a Q&A with the drivers on stage. Of course, we've got Fernando Alonso, Sebastian Buemi, Kazuki Nakajima, Kamui Kobayashi, who you can see on screen now, Mike Conway and Jose Maria Lopez. But very shortly, at 7:40 local time, we're scheduled to go racing.
Apparently, Kobayashi's saying something quite funny at the moment. Again, we don't really know what that is. But yeah, they will be driving in GT Sport, as you'd probably imagine. That's why Chris and I are here. 2 races, and again, from the practice we saw earlier on, they're going to be fairly eventful. Only the short races between the guys out there, but when they were driving in practice, they were all very close. All the practice races were very close, and it was very interesting to watch.
It was indeed. And one thing we did see, though, as we were talking about earlier, if you weren't here at the start of the broadcast, is they were finding any way they could to go quicker than their teammates.
I've never seen someone take Fernando Alonso's line through the Ford chicane before.
Yeah, it was ridiculous, but good fun. And as a result, there has been some changes made. So
some shortcut penalties have been brought in since the practice session, which tells you all you need to know,
Let's
really.
just say this. Those penalties were turned off because we all thought it was going to be a bit of fun. But as I said to Jimmy earlier, you extend a curb, you extend a runoff, drivers are going to use it.
Yeah.
You turn off penalties, they're going to take them.
Now, people are saying, who would your money be on? Now, from practice, I think one of the quicker drivers there, it was either between, in the end, Lopez or Alonso.
I'd say Lopez is the favourite. After practice, Lopez, because he at one stage was about 1.5 seconds quicker than anyone round Le Mans. That was coming down, but when I last checked in, Lopez was down to 3:18, I think it was. But they were getting used to the rig, so I think now they've had their practice. When they jump back in, they're going to be a bit more familiar. And now we have all those penalties off, and once we get them all together, it's going to be very interesting. They did race around Fuji, and it was quite interesting end to the race, to say the least. After some incidents and a bit of contact, it all came down to 3 or 4 of them battling down towards Dunlop Corner. And Alonso went for the big shortcut.
Well, you can see pretty much now. Here is the Toyotas at Fuji last year. And imagine that, but with Supras and all of them going for the same piece of tarmac.
Yeah.
And you have pretty much what happened earlier in practice, but Conway got fired off to the left, bless him.
I think Lopez took the victory in the end. Alonso went for the shortcut and stopped at a barrier.
That was fantastic.
Alonso Buemi got tagged as well at some point. And I don't know where Kobayashi was, but he just snuck through in the middle of all of it and came out in second, I think. So roll the dice, I'd say, and that will be a winner if it comes down to something like that.
Well, there are always differences between 2 series, but at the end of the day, it's just about competing, about being faster than the other cars around, and it's is in a way similar, you know, when you push to the limits one racing car. But yeah, definitely the Toyota hybrid system is very powerful. You know, we have nearly 1,000 horsepower at the exit of the corners, so that's quite impressive. Also with the four-wheel drive, so it's quite impressive machine.
So I think that was an easy one for us to translate there. Being asked about the differences between the driving in F1 and WEC, of course, and the LMP1 car, we've discussed this before, you have two motors powering the car, essentially an ICE, an internal combustion engine, which powers the rear wheels and about 500 horsepower or so to those, and then an electric motor which powers the front axle, giving you about 450 horsepower, so maybe a bit more. So as Alonso said, about 1,000 horsepower, coming out of the corners with four-wheel drive, extremely fast acceleration.
It is indeed, and I think we might be hearing from Buemi.
The hybrid power is very powerful. So when you exit the corners, you can have power on the four wheels. So you have a four-wheel drive car, and clearly the first few seconds of the acceleration is amazing. Then the hybrid power is stopping, but the car still accelerates. So when you start qualifying, you will have a top speed of 320 kph in Fuji.
Amazing to hear about the hybrid power there. What a feeling that must be, sat in one of those cars at that speed around, let's say, Fuji Speedway this weekend.
Well, I always thought my Turbo MX-5 was fast, and then I remember talking about someone with that, and they laughed in my face, which is rightly so, to be honest, especially some of these guys who have driven anything with a hybrid.
Yeah, it is quite a machine, and that is why it is the biggest race in the world this year. It's good to hear from Buemi about what that feels like. And you've been to Le Mans, haven't you, Jimmy? I think we're going to hear from Buemi again in just a sec, but we might have to cut you off, but what was it like watching the LMP1 cars go around there?
Well, I think we are just going to pop over. I think they've just posed a question to everyone. Oh, it's Kobayashi. We can talk over him because he's speaking Japanese. There you go. It was pretty, I mean, to use the term epic in the way you'd actually use the word instead of some sort of weird fad. It was epic. You go to T1, you go to the Dunlop chicane, and you see the cars pitch through there, and you don't understand how they stick, especially the LMP1 cars, and the acceleration. It's all just... It's mind-boggling, and I really would recommend going down to your nearest WEC race if you ever get a chance to do so, because watching these cars accelerate, it's just, there is nothing like it in the world. No other series like it in the world at all.
Yeah, it's something I definitely need to tick off the list. As we still have Kobayashi and Nakajima just having a discussion on stage. 7:40 local time here is when we're due to get the racing underway. So if you're here for that, and that's only, then just stick around, as it's not going to be long now before we get going.
As much as I like hearing from the drivers,
we just want to see the racing.
I'm a race commentator, and I want to see a repeat of what we saw earlier on in practice, which was, as we've said a few times now.
Should we run through the grid? Because it's already been decided.
We should run through how the grid was decided, shall we? Now, of course, these are some of the best drivers in the world, some of the greatest hot lappers and qualifiers you'll ever see here, and the qualifying was decided by rock, paper, scissors again.
Yeah. It's become a theme, hasn't it? As I think we're going to go down to Buemi. In fact, we're going to go to Lopez.
WTC and the WEC car, the LMP1 is quite big. You know, we lap around 30 seconds quicker. Touring cars is a bit different. You know, you feel more the moment of the car. There is less grip. You know, you slide more, especially with the front wheel traction car. You need to wait a lot to give it the power as well, which is the opposite with LMP1. You have a lot of downforce, a lot of grip, and it's 4x4. As the guy says, there is a big boost coming out of the corners, and the speed is different. So basically, I had to adapt to everything again, physically speaking as well, because there is a lot of more lateral Gs. So I had to get used again with my neck and train more, you know, because it's a very demanding car for the driver, you know.
かなり違いますね。
I'll tell you what, we'll come back to the grid. Lopez, he's done a great job, really, to adapt to racing in the World Endurance Championship.
Yeah, I think he's had a couple of boo-boos, but otherwise he's had a very solid drive, especially given the fact that he used to drive front-wheel drive touring cars. A little bit of an upstep to
just a bit
to an LMP1 race car, completely different kettle of fish.
It's hard to say much more than my teammates have said, but every time you get back in the car, it always brings a big smile on your face. It's lots of power.
Yep, I think that was pretty straightforward from Mike Conway. Lots of power. I think we're going to hear that one said a few times.
Just like my MX-5, right? Yeah, lots of power in that. Yeah.
I mean, you've got to show it to me now. I need
there you go. That's an ambitious crossover if I ever heard one.
Passenger ride.
Down
the M25.
I think what I might try and do is I might go and have a quick word with Kobayashi. He seems in a bit of a friendly mood tonight. And say, listen, mate, you might as well have a quick ride in your Toyota, see what he says, and see how long it is before I'm escorted from the building.
There's Waki Saka. Well, the grid, by the way, Mike Conway was practicing rock, paper, scissors at home because he's going to be on pole position. Kazuki Nakajima will be second, Kamui Kobayashi will be third, Sebastian Buemi fourth, Jose Maria Lopez fifth, Fernando Alonso sixth. That's where he started in the first race, and he made a very, very good start around Fuji. He was up to third by the second corner, and then I'm pretty sure, if my memory serves me correct, he was in the lead by the end of the lap. So he's going to be one to watch. That's going to be a standing start as well, that one. And when we talk about the cars they're going to be in, because I don't think we've done that too much yet.
Yeah, standing start, and it will be in the first car will be in the Group 3 Supra. You guys might know that, of course, if you're playing GT Sport at home. I hope you are. It's basically just a GT3 car, not a car that exists in real life just yet. I hope it does. It's a very pretty looking thing. And also it's going to be a bit of a unique challenge for these guys, because these guys are used to high downforce, lots of cornering speed, lots of grip on exit. We've heard four-wheel drive said a few times already down there. And these things are rear-wheel drive GT3 cars, and a lot of them opting not to run traction control because ultimately it's a bit faster, of course. So it's a bit different. And we saw, especially Nakajima, he really struggled early. He was looping at every other corner. He got the hang of it eventually, but initially he was really struggling.
They were, weren't they? And it was interesting to see what views they were using, because quite a lot of them went with the chase cam.
That was very confusing.
Yeah,
I
thought cockpit view for everyone would have been.
Well, we spoke to Lucas Ordonez, who's just beside us in the Spanish commentary booth, and he was shrugging as well. He didn't really understand why they were all using chase cam. It seemed to work for them. But there you go then, guys. This just in, for all you sim racing fans out there, the chase cam is the only chase cam used by real-life racing drivers. And if you use anything else, you're not being realistic.
Yeah, I think eventually Lopez went to the cockpit view.
But he was the only one, though.
But he was the only one, and I don't think Buemi was using the chase cam, but all the rest were. It was quite interesting. Whether it just went to the chase cam and then they didn't know how to change it, I don't know.
Maybe. Yeah, they didn't give much of a briefing on the stage, bless them.
Yeah, but as you said, Nakajima really did struggle at first. Maybe that's just because we were focused on him on the big screen, but he had quite a few spins in only a few laps, and then once we got into it and got into the actual race, that sort of stopped a little bit. It was good to see. Once we got into the race, they really were all up to speed, and I think it's fair to say by the end of practice now they've pretty much got to grips with it as expected, and we're going to see a good race. But it was funny actually, once we did stop the time attack, which we did at the end, immediately they were all speaking to each other. We might come back to that, or we still have Kobayashi speaking for the moment. But immediately they were all speaking to each other and seeing if they, talking about where they could potentially find a little bit of time. And one thing they all did say is, I don't want shortcut penalties on. We need them need them on. Sorry, we don't want them off because yeah, it's fair to say I think Alonso went from being 6 seconds back to leading the race in one lap
in a couple of corners as well. It's a real shame, and I do apologise again, guys, that we're not getting much of a translation through. I would love to have some insight into what Kobayashi is talking about, just marching up and down the stage. It's kind of being a fly on the wall here to something you don't quite understand. But it is what it is, and again, we'll be getting into the racing fairly soon. It's quite a bit of a kind of large Q&A session here, for essentially just for the guys here in the audience. A lot of them have come quite a long way to see these WEC Toyota drivers, so very keen to hear what they have to say. But we haven't got too long. We'll be moving over to the racing in not too much time, so stick around.
Yep, it's going to be some pretty entertaining racing to say the least. And looking forward to seeing how it all plays out, to be honest, because it's going to be a tough one to pick. But as we said, Lopez looked the quickest in practice.
ぜひね、今のお話ちょっと参考にしながらね、WEC の富士もしっかりね見ていただければなというふうに思います。さあそれではここで先日まで公式の
the drivers there just on stage. And I think now actually we're going to go to fan questions. So this should be an interesting one as Lopez just starts to update Snapchat story.
Maybe we can give him a wave. Let's see if we can give a wave to Lopez up here. No, he didn't. I think he missed us. He was looking at the crowd.
Should we say the story about if it comes?
Oh yes, okay. So this was a bit awkward, of course. For hello. Let's shut up for a second.
I've been relaxing a little bit, especially on Monday after the F1 Grand Prix, and then on Tuesday a little bit of preparation and workout with Sebastian, that we were together waiting our teammates, and we were just relaxing and preparing. My favorite place probably is the two race tracks, you know. Suzuka and Fuji are my favorite places in Japan.
So it's a very popular answer there, I think, from Alonso.
It's convenient as well.
I think he was just speaking about his experience driving an F1. Wasn't a good experience for him this weekend, from what I saw.
No.
But I think he probably doesn't want to be thinking about that too much at the moment. More enjoying the fact that he's with a team that has won something this year. We were going to say that we had the drivers come in earlier on. Okay,
explain it well. We relaxed and got ready for Fuji. It's a big race for us. I went for a haircut as well in the meantime. It was difficult because I couldn't speak Japanese, but it worked okay.
勇気あるよね。
Chris is essentially just reaching over and muting my microphone whenever anyone speaks, so get cut off there. Again, we don't really know who's speaking when, so when we see someone who speaks English speaking, we try and get the volume up as quick as we can so we can get some sort of response out of them, but sometimes we're a bit slow, we're a bit too quick. We'll wait and see if we are going to get another response from Buemi quick or not. Oh, they're focusing on his hair. Okay.
Well, I think they actually are talking about his hair. Oh, there we go.
Some sort of aerodynamic advantage there, I guess, from
when we have the sprinting race. Oh dear. Where were we? Yes, we were talking about when we had the drivers initially walk in earlier, weren't we? I will cut you.
Let's see who responds to this question, and then we'll respond or continue that story. It seems that Kobayashi seems to be at the butt of many of the jokes in here today.
There just seems to be general banter going on, to be honest. It doesn't really...
Wouldn't you love to understand some of it, Chris? Wouldn't that be good, wouldn't it?
I think I should replace you, really.
We're having Kobayashi speak right now, so we'll quickly talk. We have the drivers come in, and of course, like the tourists we are, we had our phones out, filming them come in, and then at the last second they all sat down, and Mike Conway just locked eyes with both of us and gave us the biggest death stare I've ever seen. There's a picture of it on
your Twitter,
on my Twitter profile, and it wasn't a good time for us.
Well, all it was, guys, we were both had the idea of taking a picture of the guys lined up as they are now at the same time, and just as we got our phones out, Yamauchi-san wanted to point out that we have British and Spanish commentators here, and pointed right at us as the Spanish commentators were elsewhere at this point. And at the same time, all 6 drivers looked up, and
all of us there, they all saw the professional commentators there with their phones out. Oh, look what we got here! You know, wasn't our best look. I think we're
but
not
definitely Mike Conway. What, have you ever? Have you said anything about him in a live stream?
I'm not sure if that image is ever going to leave my mind now. The absolute death stare from Mike Conway. But yeah, I think we're still having some fan questions right now. We aren't too far off actually some racing, which of course
I think it's 5 minutes now.
About 5 minutes or so, and if you are here for the racing, then I'd recommend sticking around because it does get quite leery. Just still waiting to hear from a couple more fan questions now, and here is Mike Conway.
They look a lot of fun. Yeah, tarmac, gravel, whatever. I try. Be fun.
はい、WRC すごく興味ありますし、ターマックで舗装の。
We can interpret that as anything, really, but
we can. I assume he's being asked about some of the different modes in Gran Turismo Sport. There are rally modes available, although I don't really connect rallying and high downforce machinery.
Are we confident?
I don't know. I'd find out within a few seconds.
わかりませんが、乗って数秒でわかるようになると思います。はい。
大丈夫、僕も乗れたから
Is he feeling confident for this race? I imagine he's saying.
We'll find out within a few seconds. That's not really the confident racing driver answer you want to give, is it?
I think he's just keeping that to himself at the moment, just keeping his cards close to his chest. Doesn't want to give anything away.
移動するときはヘルメットも外して運転する。全く問題はございません。
It's going to be an interesting race to watch. Focus on Kobayashi again just for a second.
I have to say, by the way, the lady in the crowd with the red race suit and the Fernando Alonso lollipop has not stopped giggling and jumping around and smiling since Alonso came in. If I were Alonso, I'd be quick on the way out.
A place for the rally. The World Rally Championship has a rally there, and everyone loves rally, and I'm a big fan of rally as well. I mean, somehow I went to the circuit, but I always wanted to also to the rally when I was a kid. So yeah, I tried a few times. I was lucky enough to be teammate of Sebastian Loeb in WTCC. I jumped in the car a few times with him, and yeah, I mean, I think if I could go with the Toyota, I will definitely.
I think what's happening here, of course, because bear in mind Toyota do have a World Rally team. Yes. They're being kind of asked about that and how they would think about driving for that. Now, I must say the current WRC car for Toyota is it looks like it's come through Halfords, but it's so leery that I like it. You've got this massive rear diffuser, big old rear spoiler, these air ducts on the side. It looks like this toy essentially, but at the same time it's so ridiculously quick. And I think that maybe you can have some sort of crossover there between the downforce of that thing and the wet cars.
They are champions in the World Rally Championship. Teams champions in '93, '94, and '99. And their last driver championship win was in '94. But
they've been waiting a while
on the podium
for
this year, weren't they? With Voigt Tanak, I believe, the championship podium.
Yeah, I think it was Toyota. Someone will tell us off if he wasn't. And anyway, now the drivers look like they're going to get into the rig. So this is the bit that we've been waiting for, and you guys at home have been waiting for. We're going to see who's got the skills in Gran Turismo Sport. Now, to reiterate, we are driving at Fuji Speedway today in the Toyota Supra GT3 cars. And to give them his blessing just before they start, this is our very own Kazunori Yamauchi. And also, this is one of the really famous commentators in Japan who does Formula 1, and his name has eluded me, and I feel very terrible all of a sudden. But he's out here with Kazunori.
Yes.
Again, we actually have no translation for this at all at the moment, so we'll just focus on the drivers getting ready. So yes, Fuji Speedway in the Supra GT3 car. To go over the grid once more,
it's going to be Conway on pole, and then we're going to have Nakajima, Kobayashi, Buemi, Lopez and Alonso, and it's going to be a 5-lap race, Jimmy.
It is, and we expect to see a bit of a, I think, scary T1, what I'd say, especially when you have a standing start. These cars do have some traction control. Whether you want to use it or not, or just trust your right foot is a bit of a difficulty. Now, this is where someone like Alonso, who is currently driving in Formula One, of course, using a standing stance and that with no traction control. That's where something like that might actually come into play. They might have a little bit of experience there, which help out in GT Sport. I wonder if that'll transfer or not. We'll have to see, I suppose.
Now, for those of you who are back home wondering, okay, what's this all for? How do we decide the winner? Basically, it is not just a straight fight for victory when it comes to race 2. Race 1 will decide the grid for the second race, which will be at Le Mans, and then it is a battle between the two cars, car 7 and car 8. Whoever is ahead, so whoever has the driver ahead on circuit, if the winner is from car 7, then the whole team wins. And if the winner is from car 8, the whole team wins. So I think, Jimmy, we're going to see some tactics come into play if that's the case. I mean, of course, they're all going to want to win, but there might be some team tactics going on here.
There may well be, or there may well be just these guys here having fun. It's kind of hard to say. That earlier on today, they really didn't take it as seriously as I think some of the guys down there wanted them to. Hence why we have some restrictions in place now. But this is the thing with these guys. They doing this for them. It can be relaxing. It can be a training tool as well, of course. But at this point, it's just a fun event for these guys, and they're just more willing to put on a good show. And I think if we have racing like before, then we'll definitely be getting that. So you have Wakisaka, I think, just introducing the race to the crowd here. We can see the guys in their rigs at the moment. Again, we have 1, 2, 3, everyone, I think, apart from, is Alonso using the chase cam down there? I can't quite see, Chris.
Let me have a look. Yes,
everyone,
yes, he is. They're all using chase cam.
Everyone is using the chase cam. So.
Oh, someone's been punted already. Now, that was Lopez punting someone off there.
That's a good start.
And I think that was payback for earlier, because he definitely did get hit a few times earlier. At the moment, they are just practicing, going to find their feet once again. And we can see Kazunori Yamauchi on screen at the moment. He's going to be part of the commentary team.
So guys, anyone down there who is perhaps an Alonso fan or a Kobayashi fan, if you're not using chase cam now, you're disagreeing with your idols, and that is not good. I mean, personally myself, I cannot use a chase cam of a wheel. It's just not something that my mind can comprehend. There are guys at home that do it, and of course the guys here are doing it as well.
I was surprised.
And the thing is, these guys do train on sims.
Yeah.
So and they will train from the proper perspective, cockpit view. So this, maybe they find it easier. Maybe they just like seeing the car on screen. That's why I used to use it anyway. I used to like seeing the car.
Now Nakajima has had a spin. I've got to say, it's what we've been talking about when we've had the Nations Cup going on last weekend was getting to see the drivers' facial expressions as they're driving. Nakajima's, it was just full-on smile the whole time. That was it, and it never changed. There we're starting to see the drivers. So we've got on screen Fernando Alonso. There is Kazuki Nakajima. There's Kamui Kobayashi and Mike Conway. And now we go back to Wakisaka, who is just addressing the crowd at the moment. He's going to be part of the commentary team for the audience.
So I think the MC now is finally going to let us switch over to the game and see some of the action. Guys, we can see down at the screens right now.
Yeah, they're just practicing at the moment, aren't they? So not missing out on too much just yet, but don't worry, we'll be straight into the race very shortly. There's not going to be any qualifying. There's Fernando Alonso, and as just proven, using the chase cam.
Yeah, chase cam, all of them using chase cam. You read it here first, folks.
Thank you for tuning in. If you've just joined us, it's the Toyota Gazoo Racing WEC meeting currently happening. Of course, Fuji will be on this weekend. The guys will be racing there for the World Endurance Championship. We are in Tokyo, Japan at the moment in the Toyota MegaWeb studio. And this brings an end to a week. Myself and Jimmy being here, we've had the FIA Gran Turismo Championship going on. Right, looks like we're getting ready for race 1. From left to right, we've got Mike Conway. And then we've got Kamui Kobayashi, Jose Maria Lopez, Sebastian Buemi, the Red Bull cap on there, and then Kazuki Nakajima to the far right, Fernando Alonso. That's not going to be the grid. The grid will be Conway, Nakajima, Kobayashi, Buemi, Lopez and Alonso.
Well, come on then, Chris. This is the putting you on the spot time. Who do you think? Who do you reckon for race 1?
Okay, now, before we came into the event, I'd said Mike Conway, and that was before I even know he was going to be on pole position. I'm going to stick with Mike Conway.
Mike Conway, okay.
Yeah.
I'm going
to be patriotic and state and say Mike Conway's going to go. He's going to win.
I'm going to go for the crowd favourite and say Fernando Alonso.
Okay.
Given how aggressive he was in the first lap last time in practice, I think that he's definitely going to gain a few positions. You're just getting a view of our track, by the way. We're racing at Fuji, if you did not know. Where the WEC cars are racing this weekend.
That wouldn't work.
Yeah, don't try and take a rally car around there. You won't go too fast. So we'll go over Alonso. However, that is on the course that he doesn't run into the barrier again as he did last time.
I was going to say, Jimmy, why don't you give us a bit of a talk around the circuit? It was a 5-lap race, of course. And in terms of the circuit, what are we thinking? Of course, a very quick first section, and then we go into a very slow technical section at the end.
Lots of slipstreaming down the straight, as there always is at Fuji. And the thing is, these guys are now pretty well matched in the middle sector, so a lot of overtaking, I think, coming down. It'll be into the Dunlop corner, which is T10 at the bottom of the circuit, before you work your way back uphill towards the end of the lap. Probably down there we'll see a lot of our action, if not T1 as well. I'd love to tell you what our screen says, but we've not been given any translation for that either, I'm afraid.
No.
I'd say that although we do know that tyre wear is not on, neither is fuel consumption, so it's just racing as it is. And that's actually a bit of a luxury that we have in sim racing. We can go, right, I want this car to perform at its best infinitely. You can do that. Turn off tyre wear, turn off any sort of weather issues, and you go from there. It's going to be all about the racing, which is like... I'd argue can be in quite a pure form of motorsport, if not maybe not 100% realistic to the real world, but still fun to watch and drive anyway.
Yeah, as you said, basically it's just going to be perfect conditions for the race. It's there's no settings within it as we go to practice. There we can now see some of the drivers on track. There is Kobayashi currently chasing down Lopez, and he is quickest at the moment with a 1:38.195. Lopez is second, just half a second back. Then it is Nakajima, Alonso, Conway and Buemi. So it's not looking good for me with my pre-race pick at the moment.
It's not right now, so we're now moving into the race.
And let's get in to the grid once again. It's going to be a standing start, by the way, so this one's going to be pretty interesting. And considering Lopez reversed on the practice start and didn't go forwards, let's see what happens this time. Mike Conway is going to be on pole position. Starting second place, Kazuki Nakajima. Starting from third is going to be Kamui Kobayashi. Fourth place is Sebastian Buemi. Fifth place, Jose Maria Lopez. And then starting from the very back of the grid, Fernando Alonso. 5 laps around Fuji. This is going to be an awesome race. Let's see who draws first blood. Over to Jimmy Broadbent for the start.
Now our practice was anything to go by. Look for Alonso at the back of the field in P6. Conway will lead them off. We'll have 5 lights come on, and then they will all hurtle down to T1, vying for position. Here we go then. 2 lights. 3, 4, 5. And it's go from Fuji at the Team Gazoo Racing WEC fan meeting race. And already Kamui Kobayashi moves up to first place, taking Conway as a start. 3 wide down the T1. Nakajima on the inside. Alonso through into P4, into P3 from 6th on the grid.
Oh,
Alonso
Conway's
up
off.
to second. Off goes Conway. It's a repeat of practice, Chris. Fired off at T1. Alonso looking up the inside, coming into his fast left hand and not quite close enough. Nakajima lead through. Alonso second, Kobayashi third, and Lopez fourth.
Nakajima's gone! Nakajima's gone round! Kobayashi's in the lead. Jose Maria Lopez is second place. Alonso's dropped to third. Well, Lopez, he was quick in practice and he's in second place. Conway all the way off the back of the field. So the pack has been broken here. We have 3 for the lead and then 3 in chase as they head down towards Dunlop Corner for the first time. At the moment, the home crowd will be happy. Kobayashi's leading, but now Lopez goes for the inside, takes the lead, and Alonso's into second.
For now, yes he is. Alonso there as well. Kobayashi back into third place. You see Alonso looking up to the big screen. Kobayashi with the patented absolute dive bomb on Alonso there. See that smile on his face. He knows what he did. He knows exactly what he did. That lets Buemi come back into the picture as well. Meanwhile, Nakajima and Conway, after being escorted from the track on the first lap, are absolutely miles behind. Alonso going for a very offensive move up onto the last corner.
Oh, they're banging. Oh, well, here we go. Alonso just about goes in. Oh, and Kobayashi's gone round. Kamui Kobayashi there has spun round Alonso into second.
That was some kind of a first lap there, Chris. And here comes Buemi now onto Alonso in the slipstream. He'll look to the inside, coming down T1, dives out the slipstream. Is he going to be late on the brakes? Alonso lets him go. Might try to cut back here. Let's see if he has enough momentum. Looks to the right. No. Buemi moves up into second position. No. But no, I'm mistaken. Here comes Alonso. He got a great drive out of the first corner. And Alonso retains second place. And in the meanwhile, Lopez is pulling away a gap, nearly 3 seconds now.
Yep, well, look, I tell you what, I thought it was going to be closer than this, but we've still got a way to go in this race, and Alonso is closing in ever so slightly, despite the fact that he's had to retake second place on this lap. And Lopez has had a spin. Is he out front? Yes, he has. Alonso goes into the lead then. Buemi into second. Lopez has thrown it away here. Alonso into the race lead. It's now a 2-horse race at this stage. Well, I hope we get a replay of that. Jimmy, did you catch anything?
No, I just saw his time just drop off the leaderboard there, and obviously had that spin. Alonso then up into first place after starting from last. We're not even at the end of a second lap yet, and we've lost most of our competition somewhat down the field. You know, I think these guys are probably glad that the contact penalty was not applied. Otherwise, there'll be a lot of penalties right now. Alonso's looking very serious in his seat there. Now, Buemi will have the slipstream once more. Immediately goes to the inside trying to break the toe. That's not a bad time. And then to the left, will he come back to the right? That's more than one move, Fernando. You be careful now, mate.
Yeah, well, Buemi's not even trying. Buemi's not even weaving anymore. He's just staying where he is. He's getting closer anyway. He's just going to let Alonso do his own thing. Alonso comes back across to the outside, and Buemi, for now, is going to stay in second place. As we look further back, here is Mike Conway. Is he going to go for a lunge on Kazuki Nakajima? He isn't. We are almost into the second half of the race now. We're almost at the halfway stage. This is lap 3 of 5. And there you can see Conway and Nakajima. Conway to the top left of your screen, Nakajima just below. He is in fourth place at the moment, Jimmy.
Conway not taking the same speed through there as Nakajima did. A bit quicker through this long right hand. Absolutely eats up the front left tyre if you have tyre wear on. That is now down to the hairpin. Nakajima with the early turn in. A bit of a better exit there for Conway. Looks right to the outside. Oh, gets on the slippery stuff. I think that's what happened to Lopez on the last lap. Touched the curve there, went off to the left.
Right.
But as of now, Conway falling back a little bit from Nakajima. But we've seen a lot of the drivers here have a big lunge at the Dunlop corner. Will Conway do the same? No, he doesn't.
I think that would just be ridiculous.
Thankfully, he thinks better of it. But we've seen a couple of the moves come towards the end of the race. They've got a couple of laps left yet. I'm sure there's more action yet to come. Meanwhile, Alonso is pulling away from Buemi at the head of the field.
He is. He's extended his lead by around half a second. It was about 8/10. It's now gone up to 1.3 seconds. So Buemi just has to find a bit of time here. At the moment, Alonso is going to go from last and take the win. So what a drive that would be. Fernando Alonso leading the way, 1.6 seconds clear of the field. Lopez is in third place. Conway jumping in the seat like he's in a go-kart, but doesn't quite work in the sim, but why not? Got a round of applause from the crowd.
Again, big smile on Nakajima's face. He just loves this competition. Nakajima goes defensive. He's looking up the top to see what Conway's doing. Here comes Conway to the outside. He's going to try to cut back. We saw from Alonso. Nakajima sits on the apex and is then removed from the apex by Mike Conway. Absolute. And he's still smiling down the bottom there. Glutton for punishment is Kazuki Nakajima. And here's the replay of that.
Well, there's Mike Conway. You can see just trying to make a move where it wasn't going to happen. And rather than taking the corner, he went straight into the side of Nakajima. Now we look back to Alonso. 1.7 seconds clear now, and Sebastian Buemi is just dropping back a couple of tenths each sector at the moment, and he's got a penalty as well. First penalty we've had of the race.
Yeah, surprisingly so. Is all I can say to that. Must be a cut track penalty. So that means some of the drivers are getting a little bit frisky out there, I think now. I'm thinking now maybe time to make up some time through less than savoury means. Alonso really sliding that Group 3 Supra through the last part of the circuit. Now, you see the penalty there on Buemi. He will serve that once he goes through the penalty line here, which might allow Jose Maria Lopez to catch up a little bit and maybe challenge coming onto this last lap. So his penalty now, it is a small penalty, but it slows you right down, takes away all your momentum and allows the car behind to really close up. Here he comes now, 1.5 seconds.
Well, I tell you what, he's lost more than 6/10 there, hasn't he? He's lost a heck of a lot of time, and it's all down to the fact that he's lost speed on one of the biggest straights ever. So Sebastian Buemi now only has 6/10 in hand to Jose Maria Lopez, and Lopez closing in. So it's going to be a fight for second place here, because this is the final lap of the race. It's gone by very quickly. Alonso's got the win in the bag. It's now a fight for second between Buemi and Lopez as they make their way round towards the hairpin. The long right-hander first. Is Lopez ready for Dunlop corner? Is he going to go into the hairpin? No, he doesn't. So I think it's going to come down to the last section, Jimmy.
Well, here we go then. On board with Lopez, looks to the left-hand side of Buemi. They're side by side coming down to Dunlop, and now alongside, touching doors almost as we come down to this tight right-hander. Who's going to be braver on the brakes? Buemi's got a bit of time.
Sold him the dummy.
Yeah, this dive to the inside is not quite close enough to make the move stick, though. Buemi leads him out of his final sector. There's going to be something special now from Lopez to take second place.
It is indeed, but he might get the run once we hit the start-finish straight. Oh no, he spun round! Oh, and Lopez, well, he spun round not only once but twice. Here is going to be the race leader and very soon the race winner. From last to first, Fernando Alonso. That is how you do it. 4.5 seconds in hand. Where is his number one fan in the crowd? I'm sure she's jumping up and down. Here he comes. Fernando Alonso takes the checkered flag and race one victory. Second place and some 4 seconds back, Sebastian Buemi.
In third place will be Mike Conway, comes across the line, Nakajima and Lopez close together at the end. I think Nakajima will just have the run, he does. Fourth Nakajima, fifth Lopez, and in the background there, a despondent Kamui Kobayashi.
Well, we didn't have to say his name too many times, did we, in that race? He had a bit of a lonely one, unfortunately. All went wrong at the start for him.
So just a reminder, guys, those were professional race drivers. Showing you the best thing, and there it is. Fastest lap, clean race. 5 positions gained. Fernando Alonso takes the first race win of the evening. I'd say probably the best win of his career, Chris, definitely.
Yeah, it's got to be.
Got to be, 100%.
He'll talk about that for a long, long time. Good fun, though. I'll tell you what, we've got another race to come, and that's the one that counts. So that was almost just a warm-up to what is to come next when we put them on the Le Mans circuit in cars they're very familiar with indeed.
Yep, the Toyota TS050 is the car to beat next time around. Well, for everyone that was be driving that car. And I think now we're going to hear from our race winner, Fernando Alonso.
We are indeed.
Great. Yeah, it was intense. The first corner, I started last, and there were some battles in front, so I took benefit from that. And also, when Jose was leading, had a moment in one of the corners, so yeah, it was an easy race.
とても素晴らしいレースでした。もう本当にスタート直後の第一コーナーの
Good to hear from Fernando there.
最高ミスタートだったんですけど、前方で皆さん
seem
が
to enjoy that one.
クラッシュしてくれたので、うまく順位を上げることができました。
すごくシリアスな表情で一言も発してなかったんですけど。
Answer just being translated to the crowd.
Well, I had no battles, so I was more or less alone. If I have some battles, maybe I was saying something to the other drivers. But
私自身のレースはバトルがなくてですね、一人淡々と
I think he's saying he would have liked to battle in that race,
Yeah.
which is a way of saying to the other drivers, come on, what's going
Get
on?
faster.
Yeah, get good.
Oh dear.
Well, I think we all used the Gran Turismo, and as Kamui explained, we had the game also in Le Mans, so we were playing a lot. maybe not in Fuji and with this car, but yeah, we all like to drive here.
普段からグランツーリスモよく使ってたり、神選手言ったように
Interesting to hear that, wasn't it? To hear that they are fans of the game, and even had it with them at Le Mans. And now they're having this race. I wonder, I think it's probably going to get played a little bit more between these guys as they move through the rest of the championship. And another round of applause for Alonso as he goes back to the rig, and we get ready for race 2.
So a reminder, the grid is going to be set by the race results of this race, the first race we've just had. So Fernando Alonso will be on pole and Kamui Kobayashi will be starting at last. But these are cars that they're all very much more familiar with. These are LMP1 hybrid CS050s, and we're racing at the only track that you should really only drive these cars at.
Yes.
The Circuit de la Sarthe Le Mans, of course, where the number 8 car took victory earlier on this year. Toyota won 2 at Le Mans after many years of trying. We were in the Toyota Museum the other day, weren't we, Chris?
Yes.
And we saw their first attempt, or one of their first attempts, the Toyota GT1 car, as well as the one of the Group C cars. I forget the name offhand, but the very famous Minolta liveried Group C car that was made very famous by Gran Turismo 4. Great to see that there as well. But yeah, their first win this year, and hopefully the first of many for these guys.
Definitely been a successful year so far, and I'm sure that will continue on the form they are in. But right now, all 6 of them are getting ready to race around the Circuit de la Sarthe, as Jimmy said, and it's down to who. Well, not only a race for pride really between all 6 drivers, but it's also a team battle between car 7 and car 8.
Yes, indeed. So basically, the easy way of saying that is whichever driver wins for their team, or the wins for their car, I should say. The guys right now just doing a little bit of practice, getting back out there again. I think Kobayashi's kind of wishing his experience of end at the moment. He's not been having a good race so far.
No. Let's see if that changes this time. Though he might take I have a feeling he's going to take more of an aggressive approach into this race.
Well, you say aggressive approach, Chris. If we were to apply the aggressiveness of the last practice session, which I think actually Kobayashi was doing. That's Conway.
Conway's corner cutting already.
He just already taken a nice big healthy chunk out of the Dunlop chicane at the start, and now he's being slapped on the wrist by the game. So he won't be doing that in the race, hopefully. So here is the track we're going to be using. It is Le Mans, of course, very famous. If you don't know it, go and learn about it, is what I'd say.
I guess,
one of the most famous races in the world.
Stop watching.
Yeah, stop watching. Of course, the Mulsanne Straight nowadays is broken up by 2 chicanes, which I actually prefer. A lot of people have a big debate about whether they want to have the large straight with no chicanes, but it's another overtaking opportunity, and I think
2 more, yeah.
2 more, which is good to have. And of course, my favourite section, pretty much any racetrack in the world, the Porsche curves towards the end of the lap, which these cars are absolutely made to go for. Same as last race, soft tyres allowed. We also have no fuel consumption, nothing like that at all. And everyone's waving at the guys up here. Hello everyone, how you doing? I think they're waving at the Spanish people though. I think they like them better than us.
No, there's no ex or professional racing drivers up here.
Yeah, we just have just me and Chris, a couple of UK lads. So
yeah, it's quite a difference between the 2 commentary boxes.
We have to say, by the way, that we, of course, don't know that's going to happen. We just saw the whole crowd turn to look at us for a second. We didn't have anything on our monitor, so it's quite disconcerting to see that happen.
Yeah, and no translation, so
no translation.
We don't even know what they were saying.
Nothing at all.
I have to ask you, how do you think this is going to differ as a race in comparison to what we just saw? I mean, Fuji as a track layout, I'd almost expected it in a way to perhaps get broken up a little bit, or to be 1 or 2 incidents with that first corner. What about Le Mans?
It's kind of hard to say. I think Le Mans is going to be a slipstream battle for the most part. Of course, if you can stay within half a second of your rival, you're going to just get dragged along down the course and pretty much be gifted overtaking opportunity after overtaking opportunity. So it's really up to the drivers to try and break that and pull away from the guys behind if they want to have a chance of finishing anywhere good in this race. So, grid for this race as set by the last race. It is the number 8 car on pole position, and that of course will be Fernando Alonso, winner in the last race. There he is on your screen. In second place, it will be Sebastian Buemi in the number 6. Then in the number 3 Toyota, which definitely exists, is Mike Conway, looking for a better race this time, as is Kazuki Nakajima, starting 4th position. In 5th position, it's Jose Maria Lopez. And then last but certainly not least, Kamui Kobayashi. He really needs to do better this time, bless him.
Right then, here we go. It's going to be a rolling start for this one, as it should be. 3 laps round the Circuit de la Sarthe.
Again, we have Mr. Jose Maria Lopez using the onboard camera, Chris.
And the rest in chase cam. Right, let's get ready to go racing then for the final time here. Round the last corner they come, and Alonso is going to lead them down towards the start-finish line for the first time. And leading the way ahead of Sebastian Buemi. He's just about a second ahead. Then it is Conway, then Nakajima, then Lopez, and then Kobayashi. And I tell you what, Alonso got a very good jump off the line there as Nakajima almost going round as they came up through the chicane. Lopez is up into 4th place. Conway is 3rd. The top 2 are away, and it looks as if Alonso's lead is certainly going to be safe by the time we hit the Mulsanne straight for the first time.
Nakajima just sent it up the inside, got it all sorts of wrong, and ended up having to give the positions back, and is now down to 6th and last place. You're now on board with Kamui Kobayashi deep in the draft of Jose Maria Lopez coming down the Mulsanne straight for the first time. He himself is drafting Mike Conway, but the first 2 have somewhat of a gap now over the rest of the field, which might prove fatal for this race for these guys. We'll have to wait and see. Coming down to the first chicane now, that's Conway moving to the left. Easy first car in the train. Here we are then, late braking, try and touch the curb here, then accelerate towards this tyre wall on the inside, let the downforce take control, and then accelerate back up to nearly 200 miles per hour. Good exit there from Lopez, now right on the back of Conway.
I'll tell you what, the field fairly close together actually. Now we've hit the straights. Alonso's lead has come down to less than a second, and it's now 8/10 as Kobayashi seemed to be getting a little frustrated with something there when we were on board with him. I think he was thinking he'd get towed right past into 4th place, but that didn't happen. Instead, he stays where he is for the time being. Conway leading this train for 3rd place there as they now come out the chicane.
They have gained on Buemi as well. Meanwhile, Alonso somewhat putting a gap, but not quite in the slipstream, so it's coming right down now. They're all coming right back together. We're on board with Kobayashi. Sorry, it's Kobayashi. We have Lopez on the screen. Coming down to the Mulsanne corner now. Oh, very late on the brakes. Tries to go around the outside. Oh, nearly got it wrong there. There goes Conway. Contact.
Oh, and he's punted. Is that Lopez into the barriers? It is. Now Nakajima's picked up a penalty as well, and that was, I think, for what you were talking about a little bit earlier, Jimmy.
It was. That's just getting it off the circuit and taking a bit of a shortcut, so he'll have to serve a penalty and just go further down the field. Look at that great sight, seeing all his Toyotas. You won't get that in real life. Only 2 of them drive at Le Mans. Great to see 6 of them here today into Indianapolis for the first time. Oh wow, Conway and Kobayashi. It's contact. That's Lopez.
Lopez is off. Nakajima's gone with him. Now, was that a mistake or was there contact? Tell you what, Buemi was 2 tenths behind Alonso, but he's now 6 tenths back. So Alonso certainly looked a little bit quicker as they went through Indianapolis there. But look at Buemi now. He's going to get the run, is he? Let's have a look. They're going to be side by side, and Buemi's taking the rail. Oh, bit of contact there. Alonso's off.
He's off.
Alonso, Conway's off. Oh, Conway's hit Alonso.
How has he stayed in second place? He hasn't. That's the answer.
Kobayashi
on the inside of the Porsche curve. You don't overtake there, but Kobayashi does, and then a little bit from Alonso to let him know that he's still there. And Buemi moves up into the lead. Conway down to 4th position. Fernando doesn't quite know what happened, it seems, in the bottom left-hand corner. I think he's just lucky to still be on the circuit at this point. And that's 1 lap down and 2 to go. Look how fast Alonso is through the chicane, right up to the back of Kobayashi once more. But the hybrid from Kobayashi is launching him out the corner, and the gap up to about half a second. Meanwhile, behind, Conway and Lopez have fallen back a tiny bit. Nakajima, though, that's a story to forget. He's now 2 seconds off the back of Lopez.
Yeah, well, let's sum up that first lap then. Buemi has hit the front. Kobayashi has moved his way up to 2nd place, having had a dismal first race. Alonso, race 1 winner, is now in 3rd after contact midway through the lap. Mike Conway has run into 1 or 2 problems on that opening lap, yet he still runs in 4th. Maria Lopez had a bit of contact coming out the Mulsanne corner, went into the barriers, and he's 5th. Nakajima, big problems all the way down in 6th.
Here comes Kobayashi. He's absolutely come alive in this second race. He's much more at home in this LMP1. Shakes his hand to the He's in the lead just for now. You haven't quite got the race win yet, Kamui. Here comes Sebastian back at him. Not going to be quite close enough to do that. Kamui goes
he's
very
so wide. He's hit the barriers.
Just grazes the barrier there. That would have slowed him right down. Now here comes the
look
train.
at this.
We have
5 of them.
Kobayashi, Buemi, Alonso, Conway and Lopez. You're on board now with Fernando Alonso in 3rd position. Buemi looks to overtake, goes to the outside. He's going to be on the outside for the second chicane, but it doesn't matter. And now Alonso to the inside. Now will he be close enough to make a move from Buemi here?
Here he goes.
Kobayashi down to 3rd, and a little bit of contact again. These guys they're playing rough today, Chris.
And Conway's got a penalty, and they're going to be 3 wide, are they, out of the chicane? Kobayashi ran wide. Conway's got a penalty of 1 second. Buemi somehow still leading, but is Alonso about to charge through and take 1st place? Lopez is now in 3rd, so a good recovery from him into the Mulsanne corner. Are they going to keep it clean? All the way round the outside, and he's got it stopped in time. Alonso takes the lead. And Lopez is off again.
Oh, there you go. So Lopez
He hates that corner.
He's not having a good day today, Lopez. Now Mike Conway does have a penalty, so that's going to break up things a little bit. But Alonso still leading from Buemi, who has the slipstream once more. Of course, bear in mind these guys rely on downforce a lot, so the slipstream is quite effective. And as I say that, there goes Buemi through the inside, down to Indianapolis. Will he keep it? Yes, he will. And the penalty now about to be served for Mike Conway, which will promote Kamui Kobayashi back up into 3rd position. Yes. Oh no, but he's got a penalty too. Hello. These guys are all picking up now. Conway, wow, robust pass Alonso there.
Wow, and he's going to...
And there's a penalty.
And I tell you what, Alonso just missed him as Conway unghosted there. That was lightning reflections there from Fernando Alonso. 2nd place at the moment. Buemi leading the way, and he's done a good job to stay out front considering they were queuing up behind him all within about 1 second. The 5 drivers were by the time we came down the Mulsanne straight last time. But look at this, Jimmy.
You've got Kamui Kobayashi. He's right over the back of all these guys at the moment. A little bit slow through that to slow himself up. He's going to get another penalty. He's got to serve that 0.4 seconds, which again is going to let Conway come back into the mix. Alonso looking to the outside for the 4th chicane. That's not going to work, Nando. Don't be doing that. Touch the curb on the right and then just run over these two. Buemi all sorts of sideways there. Somehow manages to keep it under control and remains in the lead as we come on to the final lap.
I tell you what, this could turn into a 2-horse race here because Kobayashi's got that penalty. Bear in mind though, Mike Conway, that should promote him into 3rd place. If he's close enough to pick up a toe, he might get involved. There's more contact there between Buemi and Alonso. Kobayashi's still there in 3rd place, but he's going to have to serve that penalty. Kazuki Nakajima has dropped to 6th place. Buemi making a bit of a mistake there. Alonso gets a bit sideways, but his speed immediately upped as Kobayashi ploughed into the back of him. And down the Mulsanne straight we go for the final time.
1.9 seconds for Kamui Kobayashi, so he's now out of it pretty much. Mike Conway in the background. These guys, Buemi, Alonso, side by side. Once again, Alonso has the inside line, so he has a preferential line for the first part of the chicane, but will be on the outside for the second part. Here we go.
Here comes Conway as well.
They're rubbing doors. You can't separate them right now. Alonso on the inside. He's going to have to position Buemi there. Conway tries to make the most of it, and off he goes.
Well, Conway went fully sideways there through the chicane, and that's given Alonso a bit of a gap now. And is that race over, I wonder?
No, it's not. Look, Alonso in the background, sorry, he's weaving. He's like, no, get away from my slipstream. They're all just following him, snaking down towards the second chicane.
But Buemi's not really closing in. The gap's come down by 1/10 between the 2 chicanes here. And he's going to have to do it all in the last second half of the lap, really. But Alonso, a better run through the second chicane, so he retains his lead, his gap, sorry. Buemi's still there in second. I think it could come down to a battle for second here, Jimmy, between Buemi and Conway.
We'll see. Watch out for Conway. I think he's in probably the best position right now. You might think, well, he's in 3rd, but no, he's going to have a double slipstream down to Indy. Just really depends on how quick they get through here. Buemi's a bit slow off there, but Alonso was slower. Buemi with a great run off there, and he's going to be right on the back of the Spaniard coming up to Indianapolis now.
I've just eaten my words because it's race on for the lead once again. Look at Buemi, the focus there as they head down towards towards Indy. Alonso is defending. Buemi's going to look to the outside. Is he? They're going to be... and Alonso giving him a shove there. Buemi's going to go into the lead. They're banging doors. And more contact. Is Alonso going to get tagged by Buemi? No, he doesn't. Conway's into second. Buemi's gone round. Lopez again. Well, it's now between Alonso and Conway.
Here it is then, guys. Rush to the line. Mike Conway versus Fernando Alonso. Conway's got the slipstream. He's going to pull to the right. No, then goes to the left. He's trying to find a way past. Nando making that car very wide right now, not giving him any space whatsoever. Into the first right, almost flat out. Little bit of a lift. Throw the car in. Fernando very fast through here. Conway still on his tail. We're nearly at the end of this race, guys. Conway can't quite get the gap down. Fernando's so strong through here, it seems. Out of the last part now, the Corvette curves. Only 2 corners to go. Mike Conway's got to do something absolutely exceptional now if he wants to catch up. Fernando, I don't think he's going to do it. So here we go for the last couple of corners now. Nando, here he comes. This is going to be 2 wins in 2. Mike Conway not quite close enough. He tries his best. Conway slides. No, he doesn't. Alonso,
he's got the run. They're going to be side by side.
It's going to be Alonso just at the line. Oh my! Only just from Mike Conway. What a finish again. Oh, these guys know how to put on a show, don't they? Look, he's down on the floor, Alonso. He's down on the floor.
What a race. Alonso takes the win by 0.092 of a second. Mike Conway loses out on the line. Just about thought he was going to do it on the rundown, but the start-finish line came up too short for him. Fernando Alonso drove a pretty perfect race, it's fair to say there, and he takes the race win.
I think they're about as tired as we are, Chris, down there. I need to sit down.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea. As I think we're going to hear from the drivers now. Alonso, well, it looked as if it could have been about 4 of them for the win at one stage, but eventually it came down to a two-horse race between Buemi and Alonso. And let's hear from him now.
Great again, and I think with these long straights, we were in a group most of the times, and it was more intense this one.
すごくいいレースだと思います。特に長いストレートで集団で走っている時はもう本当に激しいレースだったな。
Alonso there just talking a little bit about the race. Let's hear from Mike Conway now, I think.
100 meters away the finish line, Mike could won the race, and it was very nice.
本当に接近
It's easily confused.
ゴールまで本当に気が抜けない。
Ah, there we go.
There she is, finally on camera, as she deserves to be our lollipop lady.
We are ready. We obviously has been quite a good season for us in all the 6 hours and the 24-hour Le Mans, and we want to keep this way. And this is the home Grand Prix for the team, for Toyota, and we really want to do well and hopefully finish 1-2 in the race and in qualifying.
So just talking about this weekend, of course, when they do head to Fuji. Great to hear from Fernando Alonso, and gave it a big celebration as well, didn't he? After he came across the line there to greet the crowd. Round of applause all round, fantastic racing it was. Got to say, we always did expect a brilliant race, but that was just such a close end there between Alonso and Conway.
I only regret us not seeing the other side of the lollipop ladies lollipop, because it is the better side.
There's someone who had a few spins, unfortunately. Alonso was, Lopez, was often facing the wrong way. And a t-shirt now for now.
I'm not quite sure why he's being awarded that.
Does that have something to do with
maybe he needs the support? I don't
understand.
Well, he's putting it on. So
it says go. What does it say on it? It says go for it.
Go for it, guys.
Okay.
Well, that's a nice shirt there for Maria Lopez. I'm not quite sure of the relevance of it, but maybe it's
does it have anything to do with the fact that he spun around the most, maybe?
Maybe was there someone counting that?
I don't know. We weren't told about it, if so, but there we go. There's Waki Saka now just talking to the crowd. We've got Kazunori Yamauchi on the stage as well. And another round of applause for all 6 drivers. The event isn't actually going to end here. Our stream is going to end here very shortly, but the drivers, still some more things happening here after this stream ends. But that is the racing now done.
We might be hearing from Lopez soon. I lied, sorry.
You often do that.
It's hard to tell. I think Kazunori is addressing some of the drivers here.
Yeah.
I think we might get an answer now. Nope. Okay, there we go. I'm going to just a couple of losses there, I think. Just I'd say, guys, if you did enjoy the race, feel free to let us know and let the Gran Turismo guys know. Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel.
Yeah, well, if you have just joined in, you've missed 2 races. You've missed Fernando Alonso, Sebastian Buemi, Kazuki Nakajima, Kamui Kobayashi, Mike Conway, Jose Maria Lopez, also known as the Toyota Gazoo Racing Team, will go head-to-head on circuit in Gran Turismo Sports around both Fuji Speedway and the Circuit de la Sarthe. And your winner, well, I won't spoil it for you if you've just tuned in. You're going to have to rewind and watch it. Goes down all the way to the wire. Let's just say that it was 2 fantastic races, to say the least.
2 eventful races, I think, is probably the better way of saying it. We might be hearing from Mike Conway now.
Message to the fans, I hope you all enjoyed today. We had a lot of fun doing this, and yeah, hope you all come out to Fuji. Should be a good, exciting race, so hope to see you there.
このグランツーリスモレースも楽しんでいただいたと。
Well, you heard him, guys. Off to Fuji you go. A nice small trip from some of you guys over in the other side of the world.
Yeah.
I would love to go there myself. Unfortunately,
Yes.
we have other commitments.
Yeah.
But WEC definitely worth the visit if you're a motorsports fan. I say that as a motorsports fan, and not in any sort of capacity here as a commentator. Definitely the best bang for buck you can get. Best driver access, best everything. I really think it's worth a visit if you are nearby to one of the tracks. Kobayashi now probably saying the same thing as me. I think definitely saying the same thing as me.
I mean, he had a very eventful day, didn't he? He finished in whereabouts did he finish by the end? We don't have the result on screen, but such a hectic race. Kind of lost track of what was going on behind the 2 leaders by the end of it. But Kobayashi, a very bad first race, but really turned it round in that second one. For a while, it looked like he was definitely on to take race victory.
He felt
like Kamui, I want a rematch now. It was very nice to share the time with the guys playing, and yeah, now looking forward to being the track tomorrow in Fuji and start working on the weekend. And we hope we can deliver a good result for everyone who is going to be supporting us. Thank you.
本当に楽しい時間でした。で、上選手言ったように、僕ももう一回ここでゲームをやり直したい。でまあその楽しみは次回にとってですね、明日富士に移動してこの週末また頑張りますので皆さん応援よろしくお願いします。
Being a racing driver can be quite serious at times, so it's sometimes a bit nice just to cut loose, have a little bit of fun with the guys, and see what's what.
Tonight it was a cool game, and I hope to see you all in Fuji. It's going to be even more intense, so I'm sure you will enjoy it. Thank you.
皆さん来ていただいて本当にありがとうございました。今日は楽しかったです。
That's Sebastian Buemi there. Good to hear that he's enjoyed himself. Really looks like he could have actually taken the win. I'm saying that a lot, but Buemi led the majority of that second race. So here, crowd here now from Kazuki Nakajima.
All the drivers kind of just saying thank you to the crowd now. As Chris said, there is a little bit more after our stream ends, but as I said, after our stream ends, so unfortunately you guys won't be able to see it. And what it is Chris is going to be taking on each driver individually in the race and losing to all of them.
Come to Fuji to support us. It's going to be a great event, yeah, and hopefully we see a Toyota 1-2. And we all love to race in Japan. Thanks also to your support, which is amazing, from the hotel, the circuit, the airport. So, you know, we love to be here, and we will put a good show.
Well, I did think I should let him get some practice first. So they have raced each other first, and now take on the real racing driver. There is the T-shirt of Lopez, which he was just presented.
I don't really know why.
I don't know why.
But I'll tell you what, I would not want to be wearing that in here. It's super warm inside the venue as it has been all week. So 2 t-shirts, not so much into that.
No, and I think the drivers are getting ready to actually leave the stage now. So I think, Jimmy, it's time we should probably start wrapping things up. It's been a really good event, hasn't it?
Yeah, it's been a very unique event, definitely for me. I've never commentated anything like this before. It's been surreal as well as awesome, and again, great to be alongside you for this one, Chris.
Can only say the same thing. Fantastic event. This has been the Toyota Gazoo Racing WEC fan meeting live on Gran Turismo TV with myself, Chris McCarthy, and Jimmy Broadbent from Tokyo in Japan. If you've tuned in, thank you very much for being with us. Don't forget, we've got more of the FIA Gran Turismo Championships coming up soon, so be sure to tune in for those. But from now, from us in Tokyo, it's goodbye.